we talked about doing more documentary style videos. Apparently, this person has a very good documentary. Well, his life is his actual life. So we're gonna check it out. Boom. Jimmy Butler.
That's our boy Jimmy.
We do like Jimmy Butler.
Yep. It through his homeless face, homeless Butler. Is that what it's called?
Homeless Jimmy.
Homeless Jimmy. And then what's the stylish Jimmy? What do we call him? Suave Jimmy.
Suave Jimmy.
Suave Jimmy.
Does he have a yeah? So we're gonna check it out before we get into it. Chat.
Make sure you smash that subscribe and the follow button to
Do it again.
to support Yass and Fat.
Someone said emo Jimmy.
Emo Jimmy.
Emo Jimmy. I think that's the one with the loud hair.
Okay.
Let's check this out.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler as a superstar and the owner of the 4th highest scoring game in NBA playoff history. But what you didn't know is that Butler, at 13 years old, was homeless.
My mom kicked me out of the house,
literally.
to tell the truth.
Jimmy's road to the NBA is one of the toughest and craziest stories you'll ever hear. And it's why he's one of the toughest and coldest mother effers in the NBA today.
Jimmy Butler did it again!
I don't like the look of you. You have to go. Those were the last words Jimmy Butler heard from his mother as he was kicked out of the house. Butler never met his father. He had no close relatives. And after his mother kicked him out, Jimmy was only 13 years old. He was homeless, broke, and alone. It was a gut-wrenching reality that would crush most 13-year-olds, but Jimmy never wanted to feel like a victim. He simply picked up all of his stuff and slept on his friends' couches. He would usually stay with somebody for 1 or 2 weeks, and when he didn't have a place to stay, he wandered the streets of Tomball alone. His grades were terrible because he had to worry about where he would eat and sleep. School simply wasn't a priority. And if you think it was basketball, that wasn't Jimmy's priority either. Butler loved to play basketball, and he'd spend a lot of time on the playgrounds, but he was only 5'3", and he wasn't the most talented. Despite the lack of talent, Jimmy had something that made him special: an incredible will to compete and win at all costs. So, as Jimmy grew taller and his skills improved, he became a known name on the streets of Tomball. Then, one day, a kid by the name of Jordan Leslie would change Butler's life forever. Jordan had heard about Jimmy, so when he saw him on the court, Leslie challenged him to a 3-point shooting contest, and the two immediately struck up a friendship. When Jordan found out about Jimmy's life situation, he invited him to sleep over at night.
Just one more night. And it kind of developed into a week and then a month.
At first, Jordan's mom, Michelle Lambert, was reluctant to let Jimmy stay because she had 4 kids of her own with her first husband, plus 3 others from her second marriage.
Oh, damn.
However,
7 of our own kids.
To add Jimmy to that, that's a lot. 7's already so much.
Jordan and all their children liked Jimmy. So he soon came over again, and this time he stayed a bit longer. Michelle Lambert wasn't thrilled about having another mouth to feed, especially not a 17-year-old teenager who used to wander the streets at night.
You know, people say you just take a child you don't even know. He's brought more to us than ever we could bring to him.
That's them.
Nice.
That's family. That's what that is. That's our blood. Well, I feel like family is who you love.
Jimmy finally had a home and a family. They accepted me into their family. And it wasn't because of basketball. Michelle was just very loving. She just did stuff like that. I couldn't believe it. For the first time in his life, he had a structure, responsibilities, and a curfew. His grades improved, and he wasn't walking the streets alone at night, getting into trouble. Still, it wasn't like his new family made him into a basketball superstar. In fact, it was the opposite. Since he always had bigger things to worry about, Jimmy didn't give his basketball future much thought. He was just playing for fun, and he never even played AAU tournaments. But when he was a high school senior, Jimmy's winning mentality and leadership skills made him a team captain. With 20 points and 9 rebounds on average, he was named to the all-district first team. However, for the college scouts and coaches who usually hang around AAU circuits to recruit their players, Jimmy was a virtual nobody. When Butler graduated, he was ranked as the 73rd best player, but not on the national level. Jimmy was viewed as the 73rd best player in the state of Texas. Offers from the best NCAA universities never came, and one of the few that had arrived was from Tyler Junior College, a 2-year community college. Playing at the JUCO level usually means falling even deeper into basketball anonymity. But
that's crazy. From 73rd ranked in Texas, not nationally, Texas, and now you're like one of the top NBA players. That's wild. That's a huge journey, man. And it's great that, we're going to learn a bit more about it.
When his back is against the wall, Jimmy doesn't feel pressure. He thrives under it. In his first game at Tyler, he scored 34 points. He had a couple of 30 and 40-point games throughout the season, and he finished his freshman year as Tyler's leading scorer, with 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. His good play was finally noticed by major colleges, and Butler chose Marquette, but not because of their basketball program. He went there because of their academics, as he wanted to get an education to get a regular job. Jimmy still didn't view basketball as a career option and never even made an official visit to Marquette University. He actually faxed his letter of intent from a local McDonald's. And after a couple of months at Marquette, Jimmy wanted to quit and return home to Tomball. He missed his family, he didn't play much and only averaged 5 points per game, and he constantly got yelled at by Coach Buzz Williams.
He watched me play. The very first thing he said to me was, "Jimmy, you suck." I was like, "Oh, I don't even know you. Like, I don't, you know, like I'm a kid."
I've never been harder on a player than I've been on Jimmy. I was ruthless with him because he didn't know how good he could be. He'd been told his whole life he wasn't good enough. What I was seeing was a guy who could impact our team in so many ways. Buzz Williams.
I think that's a very I'm fully all for the tough love. I think that's the way to go. But it's very dangerous because if you're too tough, it's very easy to push that person away and make them. It depends how they respond to the tough love. Some people are just not as responsive in the right way to it and will make them feel like they're not good enough or they won't. It just depends how they take it. That's my opinion. It's very dangerous.
I mean, I feel like it depends. Yeah, I agree with you, but I feel like it depends on the mindset of the player as well. Like, for example, if Jimmy was weak, he would have thought, "Oh, can't bother." Then he would have just ended his career over there.
For sure, yeah.
You know, but because obviously we've seen where he is today, because he was strong-minded, I'm assuming from this video, he probably thought, "Okay, let me push myself harder."
That's it.
Sometimes when you see potential in someone, you have to be tough on them. Look at
Luka. I'll say Luka. Look, the team left him. The team, like Mavericks, I guess it's extremely tough love, but in a sense that he hit his potential with the Mavericks and they had to give him that tough love to say, "We don't want you here no more," to make him. It's because of that situation he's pushed further and he seems like he's going to progress further with the Lakers than he did ever could with the Mavericks. And I guess it's tough love in a way or rejection, but it was needed.
I was going to say Floyd Mayweather as well.
Yeah,
his dad was tough on him, and look where he is today.
Very tough.
So, yeah.
But after his teammate Wes Matthews got drafted into the NBA, Jimmy's perspective changed. Matthews told Jimmy that he had the talent to make it, which turned a switch in Butler's head.
Made him realize.
Wesley Matthews came back and was like, "Yo, you can play in the league." That's when I really started to take basketball for real, for real. Level, not Europe pro, nothing's wrong with that. Yeah. But like the NBA, like that's where you want to be at. That's the best of the best.
He quickly became the hardest worker Coach Williams had ever seen, and he blossomed from a role player to a star of the team.
I think the thing that has been such a great trait for him is his intelligence. He completely understands. He's able to think the next play. He's able to think the next pass and react accordingly.
Jimmy's hot head, which was his biggest weakness, became his biggest strength. He took criticism with no ego and analytically thought about what he did wrong and how to improve. As a senior, Butler averaged 15 points and 6 rebounds per game, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it isn't, but if you watched Jimmy play, there was so much more to his game than can be shown through statistics. On a team with no real scoring talent, Jimmy pushed Marquette to the Sweet 16, simply because he was a bulldog who never stopped fighting.
You know, I have to be that leader. I have to be that guy. They lost that game. It's all on Jimmy Butler. They win that game.
Damn.
I don't want to be that guy to be like, "Yeah, I'm the one that won us the game," because it wasn't me at all. It was us. It was all of us.
When he entered the 2011 NBA draft, Jimmy impressed every general manager with his tenacity on the court and his character off it. Nearly all the GMs said that he was one of the most impressive young men they'd ever met. But despite all of Jimmy's qualities, he was still a diamond in the rough because he had no outside shot and mediocre ball handling skills. So he dropped all the way to the end of the first round, where he was finally selected by the Chicago Bulls.
With the 30th pick in the 2011 draft, the Chicago Bulls select Jimmy Butler from Marquette University.
Instantly burst out into tears with my mom because All the people that tell me that I wouldn't amount to anything, that I wouldn't get my degree, I wouldn't go to college, I couldn't be an NBA player. But more than anything, it was I proved myself right. I could care less about proving them wrong.
The Bulls coach, Tom Thibodeau, viewed him as a workhorse and an energy.
Oh, it's so funny he said that because I was waiting for the video to give me a good pausing moment. I was going to say, Jimmy Butler, he may not be the most talented, but he's one of them. You know, some people, they just got work ethic and they're just like, literally, I was going to say a workhorse.
That's Jimmy.
Yeah, and you can see it on the court.
Yeah.
He's a workhorse.
Yeah.
Who else? We said someone else was a workhorse recently. Like, I think it may have been Draymond. I don't know. It was someone. We said someone's a workhorse. Just up and down the court, pushing to the last second of the game. Like, just,
Yass?
Well, there's a few workhorses, but Jimmy Butler clearly stands out as one of those.
Yeah. Chat, I've got a question to ask. Now that obviously Jimmy is like a big time NBA player, do we know if his biological mum ever reached out to him?
All right, chat. Good question. That's a good question. Let us know and let us know what the situation is with that, because I don't think this video will cover that. We'll find out.
With no intention of giving him anything more than garbage time minutes. And just like on all the other stops in his basketball journey, Butler had to scrap, claw, and fight to get ahead. But for a man who was homeless at 13 and had to struggle for everything in his life, Jimmy liked it that way, and he soon proved everybody wrong. When Derrick Rose suffered a terrible injury during the 2012 playoffs, it opened up minutes for Butler at the start of the next season, and he took full advantage of his opportunity.
Here comes Butler to the rim.
Jimmy played incredible defense.
Jimmy Butler with a magnificent
On LeBron, you know.
And made very few mistakes offensively. In the second half of the 2013 season, when Luol Deng got hurt, Jimmy became a starter, playing nearly 43 minutes per game. In the playoffs, the Bulls unexpectedly won a playoff series, and Jimmy was Chicago's leading scorer and their best player in the second round versus the Miami Heat and LeBron James. At that time, Butler proved to be a solid all-around player, but he couldn't create his own shot. Jimmy wasn't a skilled player yet, and his biggest asset was his defense and maximum effort. But unlike many similar players who remain role players all their life, Jimmy had other ideas. He worked harder than 99% of the NBA in order to improve his game and help his team win. In his fourth NBA season, Butler became stronger and more determined to score, while still being the team's best defender and leading the NBA in minutes played. Jimmy's offensive skills grew, and he averaged 20 points per game, getting the call for his first All-Star game. But then came the drama. As the Bulls got eaten up by injuries and poor team management, Butler got surrounded by young guys playing for the coach and the franchise that didn't care about winning. Or at least, they didn't care about it as much as Jimmy did, which is something that didn't sit well with the ultra-competitive Jimmy. His unhappiness became unbearable for everyone, and Butler was traded to the Timberwolves. In Minnesota, he proved that he's a superstar by leading the Wolves to the playoffs for the first time in 14 years.
1 second.
Bro, how are you playing for the Chicago Bulls in the NBA and not care that much if you win or lose in comparison to your your colleagues in a way? Like, if you're in that sport at that level, even not even at that level, like close to that level, you should be like die hard. I want to win every game. You need that mentality. Or what are you doing it for, in my opinion, man?
I think, to be honest, when you're playing in the NBA, you need to have the mindset that you want to win
and be the best. Even if you're nowhere near the best, you want the mindset to be the best.
Yeah, like you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be playing that high level sport if you don't want to win.
Like, what is that?
You're in the wrong career, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
The drought is finally over.
Nice.
Disappointment and frustration has come to an end.
But they quickly lost in the first round, and Jimmy had the same problem he had in Chicago. He was playing with young guys who cared about their numbers and having a good time. Players who were laughing in the locker room 5 minutes after a loss. Jimmy went ballistic.
It's the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks. They care about their stat sheet. They want their stats to look good, regardless if they win or lose as a team. So that way they might, get to a better team because their stats are good individually. It's a team game, man. It's a team game. You can't have that. And hopefully Jimmy puts them in their place here. It seems like he's about to.
And during one infamous practice, he trash-talked all of his teammates, defeating the starters with a bunch of G League players.
When you watch like The Last Chance, the Jordan documentary, it was one of those feelings like when I look at that documentary and look at Jimmy and what he did. So it was crazy.
That you told GM Scott Layden, quote, "You effing need me."
A lot of it's true. Was it the right way to do it? No. I think that I was honest. Was I brutally honest? Yes. If you didn't like the way that I handled myself in practice, one of the players come up to me. Somebody say something, anybody. I'm not going to take it offense. It's not personal. Jimmy, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, you're probably right.
After which he publicly demanded a trade. The next stop was Philadelphia, where Butler played for a half season before he realized that the Sixers also are inexperienced and not serious enough about winning. Over the years, Butler gained a reputation as a troublesome person with a big ego. But the only people he ever had issues with were people who didn't play basketball with manic intensity, who didn't want to work on their game, and who always shifted the blame to someone else. The Miami Heat didn't have such individuals.
Oh my! Play of the day for the Heat.
We are the hardest working, toughest, meanest, most disliked team in the NBA.
Coach Eric Spoelstra and the Godfather Pat Riley have created a team full of guys with a fighting spirit who never give up.
How it should be. What the hell? That's a buzzer beater as well.
Are completely dedicated to winning. And that's where Jimmy felt right at home. And that's when he reached his final form and shaped his legacy. With Miami, Butler further improved his game, namely his playmaking and scoring versatility. Driving to the hoop was still his trademark, but he also added a reliable floater, a deadly mid-range, and an occasional three-pointer. He also became an excellent playmaker who can find teammates in tight spaces, averaging 6 assists per game. And all of his offense didn't take anything away from his defense, as Jimmy was still doing his usual dirty work.
Good block.
But what made Jimmy special and what defined his legacy is not the versatility of his scoring or the greatness of his defense. Jimmy became a Heat legend because of his leadership and because he always improved his numbers in the playoffs. In the past 4 postseason trips with Miami, Jimmy always took the team on his back, scored a ton of clutch baskets, and became the heart, the soul, the muscle, and the bones of the entire franchise. In 2020, against all odds, he pushed Miami to the NBA Finals. Against the Lakers, with a shorthanded team, Jimmy scored 40 points in Game 3 and 35 in Game 5, going toe-to-toe with LeBron James, and winning both those games for Miami. He became only the 3rd player in Finals history to have a triple-double with 40 points, along with LeBron and Jerry West. Even though Miami lost the championship, Jimmy's numbers looked out of this world, and he averaged 26, 8, and 10 against prime LeBron and AD on 55% shooting. In the 2022 playoffs, Butler again played like a madman. He put the team on his back once more and was dominant throughout all 3 playoff series, crossing the 30-point mark 8 times and 4 times going over 40. Miami was just an inch away from making the NBA Finals again. But with the Heat down by 2 in the last 20 seconds of the Eastern Finals Game 7, Jimmy fired a transition 3 that clunked off the rim. Still, despite the loss, nobody sane could say anything bad about his performance. Not after he scored 47 points in Game 6 and 35 in Game 7. Playing for a full 48 minutes. And in 2023, after everybody had written off Miami against the #1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks, Jimmy Buckets did it again. In Game 4, with Miami down by 12 with 6 minutes left, Butler led a crazy 13-0 run, pushing the Heat to a 119-114 win and a 3-1 lead in the series.
The fans of Heat must have loved Jimmy.
100%.
He's the kind of player, as a fan, you wish you had on your team.
Jimmy scored a mind-boggling 56 points, getting buckets in every possible way, and playing one of the best performances the NBA has ever seen.
Jimmy Butler has done it.
Yes.
It was the 4th best scoring playoff game of all time. But Jimmy wasn't done there. In Game 5, he poured in 42 points, including a crazy out-of-bounds clutch play to force the overtime. Like countless times before, he carried the Heat to victory and kicked Milwaukee out of the playoffs. When the Heat made it to the conference finals, ESPN gave them just a 3% chance to beat the Celtics. But once again, Butler proved everybody wrong, leading the Heat to a Game 7 victory and winning the Larry Bird MVP trophy in the middle of Boston. All that anybody could say was, Jimmy effing Butler, you did it again. And even though the Heat lost the finals to a superior Denver team, Jimmy Butler is the people's champion and a true NBA legend.
You know what's dangerous? I'll tell you what's very dangerous. Putting him in, obviously he's in Golden State now. If he still has that work ethics, which I believe he will, alongside Steph's talent, you know, when you put in a team talent with work ethic and you have the right combination, it's peak. It's so peak. Like, it's so hard to stop, man. And yeah, that's gonna be a problem for
I
him.
feel like he suits that team as well, because if he's still hungry to win, which I'm
sure he will.
Guessing he will be. Golden State, they want to win as well.
Yeah.
They are literally the right team for him.
Yeah,
because they don't mess around.
They don't mess around,
especially Draymond Green. He definitely don't mess around.
Yeah, Butler and Draymond, the same team is problematic.
That was a really good documentary.
Yeah, there were a lot of people recommended it, so